Watch this.
Last month may have been the driest March on record for Boise, but there's a chance we may be seeing a few more of these before the year is through, as Idaho's drought is expected to worsen. Another outbreak in North Idaho. No, not COVID this time, but an outbreak brought on by a lot of swiping right.
Oh, we will find you. Yeah. The mailman's all over. They will find you.
You know it is serious when the mailman is on the case. And in this case, he's hoping to find a missing North End neighborhood landmark. It's that time of year where we get a kind of a better idea about the Idaho drought situation, the water situation. You kind of take a look at the snow still in the mountains, how much water is in that snow, how much water is in our reservoirs, and you try to balance them all out. And they're crucial components for Idaho's ag industry, from big businesses to small farms. It also impacts people and businesses that depend on the rivers and the reservoirs for outdoor sports and activities. Don't forget about the fishing industry either, crucial to all of these industries. Last year, there were concerns that a long-term drought is going to be a problem, that the projection, I should say, staying true, or are we going to see these things kind of improve because we haven't started out so well this year? Joe Paris spoke with Idaho drought and water experts for the current lay of the land and where things look like they're heading.
After a disappointing winter precipitation season, southwest Idaho is now faced with significant drought issues.
So it's looking pretty grim. We're seeing some of our model results are showing that we're going to come short in the Boise system about 300,000 acre feet around there.
Ryan Hedrick monitors the water and drought situation for the Bureau of Reclamation. He says the dry situation last year helped set up the current drought reality.
Our carryover was low this year, and so when you stack a low carryover year with, a poor runoff year, then it affects, it's a larger, it's cumulative on top of that.
Idaho is not alone.
You can see almost the entire western United States is in drought.
Idaho Department of Water Resources hydrologist David Hoekma says predictions show that southern Idaho will experience widespread drought and water shortages this summer.
Right now we have severe drought up in the headwaters of the Boise River, out across the Central Mountains, and pretty much everywhere rimming the Snake River Plain. And we're expecting that this will all probably become severe drought within the next few weeks.
The drought and water situation has critical impacts on Idaho agriculture operations. They will be forced to make decisions on how to use limited resources.
They will often reduce, how much water they use throughout the year, and they'll be trying to save water as well. They'll be planting crops that aren't water heavy and need a bunch of water. There's probably not going to be a lot of corn or beets growing this year. So they're doing everything they can to try to get through these 2 tough years.
The snowpack in Idaho's mountains is a major factor in this. The snowpack has declined significantly since January 9th in every basin south of the Salmon River, leaving the streamflow forecast to be 20 to 70% below average for the Snake River, Big Lost, Big Wood, Little Wood, Salmon Falls, Boise Payette, and Weiser River. The only slightly good news for agriculture, they had a feeling this was coming.
This drought, unlike last year's drought, has been a long time in coming. And so we've had ample warning that the water supply conditions are looking rough. So I believe people will be a lot more prepared this season for the drought than they were last year.
The drought will certainly be visible for Idahoans out on the Boise River system or up at Lucky Peak looking to recreate.
Yeah, Lucky Peak will be much lower than it normally is. It could be anywhere from, 15 to 20 feet from full this year. And so we'll see drop off on boat ramps, and some of that may get affected.
The reservoir system in the Boise and Payette River basins show that Lucky Peak is at 52% full, Anderson Ranch is at 39% full, and Arrow Rock at 89% full. To conserve water for agriculture operations, flows from Lucky Peak will be at a minimum release, meaning that the Boise River will be lower and slower for now. There is hope that the upcoming summer months will be better than 2021, but the weather patterns will have a major impact on the situation in the coming weeks and months.
We're not expecting a real hot summer like last year, but if we were to get that, the situation would degrade pretty quickly, and farmers could find themselves, in a really rough spot. That was a 1 in 100-year event, but sometimes those events come back to back. It doesn't mean we're going to wait another 100 years till we see the next one.
And they seem to be coming more frequently than they have over those last 100 years. And heat is one thing, but farmers still need water. And we talked to the farmers we spoke with last year who only had basically a shortest growing season ending in June than they've ever had. And they think it's going to be just as bad this year. But agriculture is one thing. We get this question all the time, Joe, because a lot of people moving in to the Treasure Valley and to Idaho in general. With the desperate concern of drought in our state, this one was sent in from Melanie, by the way. Why do they continue to issue building permits and not announcing early mandates for rotation of lawn watering, upcoming season, washing of cars, all of that kind of stuff that, where we use a lot of water at our homes? What about, I don't know, conserving water residentially?
So conserving water residentially is a good idea. And the experts I spoke with today say if you want to conserve water on things like watering your lawn or landscaping at your personal home, cutting back on that is going to help the situation. But Brian, we need to think about the water that we use in our personal lives and really things for car washes and, watering our lawns and drinking versus the water that is specifically protected and put aside for the agricultural community. When they have to flood their farms and stuff and they have to work on all the irrigation, that water is not one-on-one with the water that Suez is working with, for example. Now, this is not exclusive, saying there's only one water source that goes one place and only one water source that goes the other place.
But they are separate.
They are separate. There is a mix over. So if you do kind of step back on your personal use, especially on your lawn care, it could help somebody in the future. Will we see the rotating lawn schedules like, back in the 80s? Maybe, but for now it's wait and see. The priority here, though, is that irrigation water.
Yeah, and this is going to be all over the entire West, so it's not just going to be back in the 80s. We're going to see some of that stuff happening in states across the West this season already. All right, thank you very much, Joe. Well, apparently COVID has had a lot of pent-up people over the last year or so. And since the pandemic has waned a bit, some of those people, at least those people in North Idaho, have been going out with a lot more than just their faces uncovered. And that's led to another communicable disease outbreak in Idaho's Panhandle. Treponema pallidum. That's Treponema pallidum. That's otherwise known as the disease that got Al Capone out of prison. The Panhandle Health District, which covers Benawa, Boundary, Kootenai, Shoshone, and Bonner counties, they've noticed a spike in syphilis infections in the last 3 months. 81 diagnosed cases since January. They had only 40 over the same time period last year, so it's double the number from 2021. And that wasn't the only thing that stood out to investigators. Just like what they've been doing with COVID, with any form of communicable disease in Idaho, and there are more than 70 of them, we're told, health districts do contact tracing and they do case investigations. And in doing so, with this syphilis spike, they found a surprising syphilis trend.
In conducting those investigations, we're really able to discover maybe the original source. So a lot of these cases were connected with dating apps and people who had been using those to meet other people.
Meet other people. Well, it appears they were doing a lot more than that. And speaking of a lot, Catherine told us a lot, like the majority of those 81 cases so far, could be linked to those dating apps. Look, I'm a happily married man, and I have been for years. So I'm not all that familiar with today's dating scene. Not that there seems to be much of a scene anymore, just a kind of a string of one acts, apparently. Thanks to dating apps like Tinder, Blender, or Grindr. There's Bumble, there's Hinge, there's Match.com, OkCupid, there's eHarmony, JDate, Mutual, I've heard of that one, Christian Mingle, Coffee Meets Bagel. And because these cases were confirmed in people from the ages of 20 to 60 years of age, there's also Our Time and Silver Singles. Yeah, those things exist. Oh, don't forget Plenty of Fish and FarmersOnly.com, just to name a few. As shocked as I was to learn all of these dating apps do exist, the Panhandle Health District was just as shocked to see this connection between, well, carnal connections.
It was an interesting finding for sure. We had not put that together in the past. So this is the first year where we've really seen dating apps as a likely source of the meetup.
Yeah, so I guess the message is dating apps are fun, but you can't forget the responsibility.
Absolutely. And not only in dating apps, but just in general. If you're choosing to go out, meet people, if you're engaging in sexual activity, there are safe ways to do so. Just wear a condom.
Good to know. Good to know. And not to make light of the situation, because untreated syphilis can lead to serious health issues. Catherine wants to emphasize they don't want to stigmatize anyone either. But health experts also want people to know it is also very preventable. And to avoid playing a game of bareback bingo,
just wear a condom.
good to know. An appropriate story for this time of year, sure, but for a rather inappropriate reason. Someone stole Boise's North End Easter Island head statue. And out here, whether you're looking up or down, it can really bring back some perspective in your life. Before we tell you where that is, tell us what you're thinking about today's show. Text us, the number on your screen, 208-321-5614. Whether it's a question or a comment, just make sure you keep it clever and to the point. Oh, and make sure you include your name and the hashtag, the 208. You ever have something stolen from you? Maybe you lost your wallet, or somebody took your wallet, I should say. Maybe a piece of jewelry, something taken from your car. Doesn't leave you with a good feeling. But when someone stole the Easter Island head from Boise's North End, the neighborhood lost more than just the value of the object. This violation took away some of their daily traditions. So now what? Well, here's Katya Stepovic.
Oh my God, I can't believe somebody would take that.
Why take something that brings joy to a neighborhood? Senseless.
For over a year and a half, this empty hole was home to an Eastern Island Moai statue in front of this North End home.
I was like, this must be April Fool's.
But today,
I was shocked. I stopped in my tracks. I was like, I can't believe that big statue is gone. Like I had to do a double take.
this busy corner that welcomed hundreds of neighbors near and far sits quiet and empty.
And I can't even count the number of times that we would be out gardening or just hanging out and somebody would stop and strike up a conversation, because it's just this like kind of goofy little piece of like silliness.
The Goodrich family said the statue spoke to them when they saw it was being thrown away years ago. So they gave it a home of their own and a look that changed with the holidays and the seasons.
And it was like a landmark, like people came by to see what he was wearing next. And my daughter's actually like kind of possessive of like how things had to be on him. It was her little buddy. She actually named it Kira. So if you ask her, she would very stringently tell you that it's a girl.
5 days ago, overnight, someone or some people dug the nearly 100-pound statue, Kira, out of its place, and with it went some longtime community traditions.
It's like salt in the wound, because it's not something that's useful to anybody else. It's just something that we kind of embraced as a neighborhood.
As word of the statue's disappearance spread on social media, upset neighbors started posting their own messages demanding its return.
Oh, we will find you. Yeah. The mailman's all over. They will find you. And I'll let all my people know too.
Now, many just want to bring the Moai statue and all that came with it back in time for the Easter holiday.
Just bring it back, no questions asked. Stick it back on the corner and we'll all be happy and nobody has to be mad and upset about this. Just bring it back.
Yeah, and I'm standing right in front of the hole right now. You can see it left a pretty big hole. I mean, the family had to dig just to get the statue underground in the first place. So whomever really wanted to take this statue had to put a lot of effort in doing so, Brian.
All right, Katya, I can imagine that maybe the police are looking into this. Are there any like community cameras out there that may have recorded something? Do they have anything? And now what?
Well, that's a great question. And actually, yes, the family was not planning on doing something in the first place, but because of all the commotion that you saw on social media, BPD actually came to their house and said, listen, we want you to fill out the police report. And they did. They say even if the person or people come forward, they're not going to press any charges. They simply just want their statue back. And on the topic of a Ring doorbell camera, unfortunately, for this situation, nobody has video facing this very corner.
Oh, that is unfortunate. So I guess we just have to wait and see if somebody does happen to bring it back. All right. We'll wait and see. Thanks, Katya. It's a hidden gem that has gotten a little bit more popular as time goes on. That is, if you know how to find it. And hopefully, you're not afraid of heights. Any guesses where we're at today? All right, you know how this works. We want to hear from you. Text us your questions and your comments about today's show or any other topics you want us to tackle on another show. 208-321-5614. Don't forget to include your name and the hashtag #the208 and stick around. We could share yours at the end of the show. All right, you know, April showers bringing May flowers. Well, in lieu of that, springtime in Idaho also brings a lot of wind, a lot of it. Yesterday, we told you about the winds that knocked over the iconic Spud Drive-In movie theater screen over there in Driggs. It's been standing there for more than 70 years, so now they got to put it back up in order to be open this summer. But wind also does some damage to porta potties too. I remember this time last year, we were showing you video of porta potties being pushed down the street in these windstorms that happen this time of year. Luckily, well, we don't know for sure if somebody fell over inside that thing. That'd be unfortunate, but that's kind of what happens. April also brings signs of the first foliage of the season. You can check out some of the dozens of the pictures of the first buds of the season that you posted on our Idaho Weather Watchers Facebook page.
We were talking about the winds just a minute ago, and just to let you know, there's another wind advisory. It's 2 days off, though. It's not until late Friday, so they pick up Friday night into early Saturday morning. So keep that in mind, okay? Just before you go out, make sure things are secure. Some gusts could be as much as 50 miles an hour. Now, just to point out what we have here over the northwest, you see clear skies here. Storm system coming in to the west. As it moves in, that warmer air comes up out of the southwest. What this means is incredible weather that's going to be coming in for tomorrow and Friday. But after that, the cold air, if you think of this storm, it's the contrast between the warm air out in front of it and then the cold air going into this core. So we've got a temperature by Friday that could be up to almost 80 degrees. If you look at tomorrow, here are some of the temperatures, and you can see we get up into the 50s in the afternoon. Here's later tomorrow afternoon, and then we're getting up pretty close to 70 degrees. Looking at the 7-day forecast, you see nearly 80 Friday. Then look how it drops Saturday and Sunday, 46 for the high on Sunday. There's a chance of a shower late Sunday night and into early Monday, okay? 51 degrees for the high there. Tuesday and Wednesday, at least we keep these temperatures cooler as we get into next week, but enjoy the next 2 days.
All right, we've been showing you these pictures pretty much the entire show today because why not? We love doing it. Today we didn't do a good enough job because a lot of you got this one right away. Didn't hide this. If you guessed Jump Creek Falls, you were right with this Where We Going today. So why did we pick Jump Creek Falls? Well, Felicia posted a picture of Jump Creek with a tribute to our own Larry Gebert. So we felt like it was a fitting place to visit today. She put that on our Facebook page as well. If you haven't made the trip out to Hawaii County, just southwest of Marsing, to see Jump Creek Falls, it is a must, especially when the weather gets warmer, as all of these folks are enjoying. 60-foot waterfalls, or the waterfall, I should say, falls 60 feet from Sands Basin, and the surrounding canyon boasts vibrant rock walls that rise hundreds of feet above the canyon floor. It's a short quarter-mile hike to the falls trail where you can enjoy a swim under those said falls. There's even fire rings and picnic tables you can stay there to enjoy. Be careful, though. There is poison ivy out there along the trails, and, you know, got to be careful of that stuff, even in the creek. So enjoy it with being observantly. Yeah, observantly, I should say. And despite the poison ivy, it is a beautiful spot. Some would even call it our own little piece of paradise here in Idaho, which reminds us of something Larry would say almost every day. When you would ask him, "Hey, Larry, how you doing?" He'd say, "Well, just another day in paradise." It seemed anything but paradise around here the last few days, but we're getting through it. And a big thank you to everyone who has reached out, sent cards or flowers, or even just a positive thought our way. This afternoon, we got a surprise, one that Larry would have probably said was unnecessary, but it is helping us get through even more. T-shirts with Larry's face on them, and that famous saying, "Just another day of paradise," printed on them, sent to us from ISG Printing and Embroidery. We want to thank them for dropping these T-shirts off at the station. Enough for everybody here. We got together for a nice picture today in the studio, reminding us, even though Larry may have said it a lot of times, and a lot of times with some heavy sarcasm attached to it, just another day in paradise is a mindset we can choose every day. All right, final minute of the show. We got a lot of questions today about the water situation here in Idaho, and a lot of them are related to the fact, we had that storm that came through earlier this week. A lot of cars got dirty. What about car washes? Because a lot of people were lined up to get their cars cleaned after that mud rain came through on Monday. Yeah, they use a little bit of water over those car washes. And the question comes in, do commercial car washes use more or less water? Asked Scott in Meridian. Did a little looking up really quickly, and it takes about an average of about 100 gallons of water if you're washing that car at home. Of course, that's with water running all over the place, which is a lot of water. And some of these car washes do use a lot of water, but they also recycle a lot of water. And you can check out your car wash's website. Andrew Bartline is looking into that today. He said you can look into the car wash's website, and that'll tell you whether or not they recycle and how much they recycle. So that'll help you decide where you want to go. Many fond memories of the Spun Drive-In. Had a lot of Gladys burgers. Old timers will know what I mean, says Buck in Haley. We'll see you back here tomorrow.